Welcome back to Feature Flashback, episode number 3. Number 3. Three amigos, three musketeers. Three Stooges.
Call back for those of you listening along.
But yes, if this is the podcast, could be your first episode. You could have been here since the Stooges. But this is the podcast where each week we flash on back to the films that came out 10 years ago. We watch the major films that came out in theaters. I'm Colin Spolton. And with me as always,
I'm Jacob Sanger.
You sure about that?
Sometimes I'm not so sure. This morning I woke up and I was like, hey, yo, wait a minute.
But yes, I mean, 10 years ago. What was going on?
I was 7th grade.
I mean, just in general.
Oh.
Just like in the world.
I don't know.
In the movies.
Was that when all those hostages got taken in Iran? No, that was the movie Argh.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
that was the movie Argh. It did win Best Picture. So. But yes. I guess.
Yeah.
Cut this out of me talking.
It'll be so smooth in the final.
It'll be so smooth. I'm going to leave it in, actually. Maybe.
People like to see this. They like to see the seams, you know?
Yeah, they like to see the seams of me cracking. And but yeah, so.
I like to hear my drink.
But before we. Enjoy your drink, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good drink?
I'm really thirsty today.
But before we flash on back 10 years ago to see what was in cinemas, Jacob, did you see anything new in the cinemas?
I did. Well, I didn't see something new. I saw something old brought back to cinemas, which was that I've been a really big fan lately of Alamo Drafthouse series Weird Wednesday. I think every other Wednesday they show a weird movie from yesteryear.
Yeah.
And then yesterday was Sam Raimi's 1990 superhero film Darkman, which
I have not seen it, but I want to.
It went hard. Like I pretty much as soon as it started, I was like, okay, this goes hard because it's like I haven't seen the Sam Raimi Spider-Man in forever. Like I have fond memories though. But it had kind of that vibe or more like the Evil Dead where I don't know, like I honestly feel like I don't know if you could make movies like this today because it's so cheesy, but it works somehow. It doesn't feel cheesy. It's like, it just feels like style. And like the very first scene is just these gangsters and they're just saying a bunch of stupid shit. Like he goes like, it's like a guy, he's handling his business on the phone and I forget exactly what he says, but he was like, he's telling his second in command to, go talk to these other guys. And he's like, tell him no too. Him? Tell fuck you. And I was just like, this is so strange. And also like, so there's this guy at Weird Wednesday who like runs it named Laird. Shout out Laird. He actually, I reviewed Darkman on my Letterboxd and he followed me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was so honored.
Get him on the pod?
Yeah, come on, Laird. You like to watch movies. But he comes out and like introduces the films and he was saying like, pay attention to the camera because it's crazy what they did with like no money and no time. And so I was. And honestly, I was like, as someone who like wants to make movies, I was like, it's kind of nice because a lot of it's really cool, but I'm like, I know how they did it. And I'm like, I can see how you would do this, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of Sam Raimi stuff, especially like early on.
Yeah, but it was all like, it was super inventive, like a lot of fun. Just little things. Like there's a part where the main character is getting his head slammed into glass. And so it cuts from that to like a shot of the camera being slammed in. So it's like POV. But the weird thing about it was that I was like, okay, low budget, early Sam Raimi. I was like, there are going to be 0 known actors in this. So
it's Liam Neeson, right?
Yeah. So like as I'm watching the opening credits, it goes Liam Neeson, Frances McDormand. And I literally, the poor guy next to me, I didn't say anything to my credit, but I literally like held up my hands incredulously. And then I was like, I'm the worst person in this theater right now.
But because Frances McDormand, because what I heard was that she roomed with the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Her, Holly Hunter, the Coen brothers, and Sam Raimi.
Oh my god.
Lived in the same apartment for a while.
To be a Coen brothers in the 90s. I've caught flack for it before. I think Frances McDormand and Holly Hunter are beautiful. And I'm tired of hiding it. And maybe it's because my parents brought me up on a steady Coen brothers diet. But but I'm tired of hiding it.
Attracted to no one but Coen Brothers women.
Yeah. I watched Miller's Crossing. I go, oh my goodness. But yeah, I recommend. I don't know why it's been in the zeitgeist lately, because like Red Letter Media reviewed it.
Yeah, and Blank Check is doing a Sam Raimi series, so they just talked about Darkman.
And I feel like all of our friends on Letterboxd watched it.
I think a bunch of them have been because of Blank Check. I know they all listened to him. But yeah, I saw it because of Red Letter Media, and I was like, oh, because I like to watch the movies before I see the review. So I'm like, oh, I guess I got to watch Darkman.
Yeah, I haven't watched that episode yet because I knew I was going to see it, so I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. But yeah, that's what I watched this week. What about you, Colin? Have you seen anything?
Well, yes. I'm surprised you say you didn't see anything this week because we saw a movie together.
It feels like so long ago.
I guess it was a day after we recorded last episode.
Yeah.
We went and saw The Northman.
The
Northman in theaters with a big group of guys.
Yeah.
Just a couple of guys.
Just the boys seeing a boy movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked The Northman. I think it is just as good as Robert Eggers' other movies.
Yeah.
Which for me, like, I think The Witch, The Lighthouse, and this are all like 8 out of 10 straight
Interesting
on for me. I don't know. There was something that felt. I think the trailers definitely promise a little more of an action epic when it's more of a. I think one of our friends described it as in the middle becomes like Home Alone.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of him kind of fucking with a guy on the inside. But I think especially some of the battle stuff at the beginning was so epic, and the ending.
Yeah.
And there's some things that definitely feel like things that you think about that would be epic. But actually getting to see them on screen. Was pretty amazing.
That's a really good point, because I feel like the climax, without spoiling it for people who haven't seen it yet, is something that you definitely would like. Imagine you'd be like, where's a cool place to set a fight scene? Blank.
Yeah,
but I mean, they actually did it.
I mean, Star Wars.
True.
Tried it.
That was the only one I could think of besides this. Though.
I think this one was better.
I agree, because
I definitely.
I love Star Wars. Even the prequels, I have a special place in my heart. But I won't. That's another conversation. But I won't defend them. But
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, but there were this just like, and to be fair, they had 16 more years of special effects or whatever. But it just felt so much more real.
Well, I felt like that came across in the filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because it felt so. That's one thing I do really like about Robert Eggers is that it's both showy and restrained at the same time. Because in one case you have this epic battle going on, but it still feels like, and there's so many like tracking shots, especially in that one raid that you see in the trailers that starts with, they throw the javelin at him and Alexander Skarsgård catches it and throws it back. But there's just like super long tracking shots, but it feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's calling that much attention to itself, and it's benefiting just the whole experience of the film.
They had a really cool shot right before that scene where, and this isn't a huge spoiler because you can actually watch this shot on YouTube. I saw them breaking it down on Vanity Fair. But and that's actually a really cool video. It made me like appreciate it more. But I always really like whenever a movie can. And I'm not saying I'm some master cinematographer. By no means. I barely know what a camera is. But I feel like most of the times I can see how a shot was done. Yeah. Just kind of reverse engineering it. Unless it's like totally made in the computer, like some David Fincher stuff where it like flies through a keyhole and I'm like, I have no idea. But the shot in this movie right before the raid, I legitimately was like, how did they do this?
Is the one with the kayak, like when they're going on the Viking ships. Yeah, I was like, fuck do you do that?
He breaks it down in the video, and I'm still not entirely sure, but like it sounds like so I don't really want to spoil it, but basically the camera
starts on land and catches up with a boat.
Yeah, you see a boat coming from land, and it's a sick shot. Colin was sitting right next to me. I was he could attest I was nodding my head satisfied. The ships come in, they're banging the drums. The camera goes all the way across the shore into the boat and turns to find the main character, and then keeps going from there. They shoot a guy in another boat with an arrow, and so it sounds like they craned out over the shore, and then had a dolly track on the boat that they transferred to, 1917 style, which is insane. And they pointed out that the guy who's right in front of Alexander Skarsgård rowing the boat the camera would like hit him if he didn't move. So right as he passes out of frame, he dives overboard so that he doesn't block the camera.
He jumps ship.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Alexander Skarsgård was saying like that was hard for him because he was watching his oar to make sure he was in time, and then it leaves and he's like, I just gotta go.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I don't want to spend too long on it because that's not why we're here today. But as someone who is very, very highly anticipating The Northman, I have some things to say, which is I would feel like I would be remiss if I didn't say that, like, I am someone, I'll see just about any, like, fantasy or, like, historical thing that comes out because I just love that kind of stuff. Like, I grew up on, like, Braveheart and Gladiator, Last of the Mohicans, and that's what I really wanted The Northman to be, and I was trying to, like, dull my expectations because I didn't want to be disappointed. So it wasn't that, which I was okay with because they didn't say it was going to be. Although the trailers did have a lot of epic action sequences.
Yeah, they really mind that one.
Yeah,
that raid scene.
Yeah, for sure.
Action beats.
Because that's the other thing is like, I mean, again, I don't really want to spoil it, but like, the whole image of this movie has been like Alexander Skarsgård with the long hair, shirtless, and he really only looks like that for like that scene.
Yeah, that scene, and then he doesn't.
Yeah. I will say to the movie, the stuff that I really liked about the movie is that it had like a really good like tone and kind of atmosphere for like all of it. And
it looks
like
beautiful.
Yeah, and that's something I really like about Robert Eggers. Like, because I want to watch The Lighthouse again before I pass judgment, but like I kind of felt like I loved the PD and the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care for like the story just because I was like, okay, so two guys go crazy.
Yeah.
But they're amazing performances and it's shot beautifully. But I feel like I need subtitles.
Yeah.
And then I really liked The Witch, and
The Witch is my favorite of the three.
Mine too.
Made.
And I saw it after Lighthouse, and so I was like, wow, like I want to go see Lighthouse again because this is awesome.
Yeah. The Witch I saw in theaters, knowing very little about it.
Yeah.
And that was one that like that ending.
Yeah.
Like, chilled my bones more than any movie I've seen in ages.
That's something I really like about Robert Eggers is that he does an insane amount of research to make stuff historically accurate, so it feels so real. And that's something that The Northman does really well. My biggest problems with The Northman, though, are that, like, I feel like the beginning and ending are really strong. Like, the whole beginning is, like if you've seen the trailer, you know that, like, it starts out with this, like, crazy call to action, which is that, like, classic, revenge story, Amleth sees his mother taken by his uncle and his father killed, his father the king killed by his uncle, and then he goes into hiding.
You, father.
Yeah,
I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fjolnir.
But and then he goes into exile, and then we meet him later, and that's when the whole cool boat shot happens. So all of that stuff kicked ass. And then, like, there was, like, some stuff when he was younger where it kind of slowed down, and I was like, this isn't what I expected this movie to be, but I was okay with it.
I love the Willem Dafoe scene.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. And then the last scene kind of goes, not last scene, but the ending kind of goes back to that, like, epic feeling. But I feel like in the middle, there's, like, two really cool scenes, and then the rest is kind of just, like, back to Robert Eggers' old tricks of like a couple people hanging out in a remote location.
Yeah, that it does feel like it slows down a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it just becomes like almost like a weird kind of like I don't want to say spy movie, but it's just kind of like, all right, I'm in this place now. It's time to start fucking with people.
Yeah, which is a cool idea. Like when I think about it, I go, that sounds really cool. But there's something about the delivery of it I didn't really love.
I think I would have liked it more. I felt because I really like when Bjork shows up as the spirit
cool.
After the raid. I kind of wish there was more kind of like weird kind of spirituality throughout.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I think also because you get like, he gets a really cool sword in a very cool way.
That's
and
like the coolest scene in the movie. Yeah,
I kind of wish there was more kind of challenges like that, or he's using more things. It's almost like Moses, where it's like, oh, he has to these interesting ways they'll descend these plagues upon Fjolnir.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like because I love fantasy, and like the blend of some of the more fantastical elements, or like Norse mythology, or like what you were saying, like spiritual stuff, was really cool. And so it's like I wish there was more of that, because whenever it happened, it was really cool. And like you were saying, yeah, I feel like if it was more like, like Hercules' tasks kind of thing, like if it felt more like
more like it felt like the main character had it a little easy for a lot of. For a long section, kind of in the middle, I really like the part where he has to play like someone called it like fucked up Quidditch, where he's basically playing like a horrible game with like another tribe, and they're just beating each other with sticks. Like I really like stuff like that.
That was a great scene.
But I think like it does feel like he's just kind of stuck in this spot.
And I feel like there's one moment where they even like kind of throw it in your face a little bit, because like I and it's not fair to judge a movie based on what you wanted it to be, I guess, but like
it's hard to separate yourself from that.
But I was like, oh, I really want this to be Conan the Barbarian, and with Conan, it's like Conan's not necessarily a like character you like. You're like, oh my god, I really feel for his plight, because he's kind of just like a one-man wrecking crew. But you do like want him to get revenge because his mother and father were killed, and it's his whole reason to enter, and he was tortured and sold into slavery, a lot like this movie, and
very similar.
Yeah, but like Conan like goes a lot of places and brings new people into his crew.
It really feels like it slows down a lot. Like it would have been nice to see, because they're in Iceland for a lot of it. It feels like even just like different places in Iceland. We're in that one kind of patch of grass for a long time.
That's why I think the sports scene where they play Quidditch is so refreshing, because one, it's just cool and fun, and two, because they finally go somewhere else. So I don't know. I think for $90 million, it felt like they dropped off. They used all the budget at the beginning and the end.
It does, because I thought that this was gonna be like, all right, this is like a $40 million movie, like that they got so much out of their money. And when in actuality it's an $90 million movie that feels like it could have been a little cheaper, because it feels like I don't know, because I'm a little torn on it, because overall I liked it a lot. I think because especially compared to like other movies that come out, like Robert Eggers, like I think in 10 years from now, we're still going to be talking about his movies. I hope we're still talking about him, and I hope his career, he goes on to make a million of, a million different weird kind of Eastern European movies.
Give him 180 million so he can make the movie I want.
The Northmen.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, because I like the ideas it has on just like revenge. It's very similar to Hamlet in that way.
The Lion King.
Yeah, and so like the idea is really interesting, especially with like the Nicole Kidman character.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's very different than what like the trailers promised.
Yeah, which is like, my brother kept saying, like, he was like, I keep getting duped by A24. And I was like, this isn't even A24.
Yeah, it wasn't A24, which I was surprised by. I thought I'd heard it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's focus features.
But it does, the middle part feels very A24. But I will say, yeah, I complain about it a lot, but I still, like, honestly, I'm still thinking about it, and it's been a week. Yeah. And
although you forgot it when we came in here.
Yeah, because I was so just excited about Darkman. I still think about it like daily, and the more I think about it, honestly, the more I'm like, actually, that part was really cool. So I don't know if I'm like forgetting the parts I didn't like as much, but I really want to see it again before I pass final judgment. But yeah, I don't want to make it sound like it's bad. Like, I still gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, and like, as someone who has seen a lot of like medieval movies, it's still, way better than a lot of the stuff you're gonna find on like Netflix and stuff.
Yeah.
Like with Peace and Love, there's movies like Centurion or The Last King, and I'm like, they're cool, but this movie at least had like amazing PD and like amazing research.
It had a real vision.
Yeah,
it did feel like just the vision was different than expected.
Yeah.
All right, so that's The Northman and Darkman for a bigger flashback.
Yeah, and they both have man in the title.
They do a bunch of men this week.
Also, I think it's just funny. I was thinking about it during the movie. I was like, never once have they called him Darkman. And then, oh wait, you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it.
Okay, I won't say. There is a reveal of the name.
But all right, so now we finished this week. So now we're flashing on back. We're flashing on back to the cinemas 10 years ago, the weekend of April 27th, 2012.
Shout out one time.
Can you guess what is number 1 at the movie theater?
Okay, so Hunger Games would be on its like 6th week, which means it might not be number 1 anymore.
What was number 1 last week?
Last week was Think Like a Man.
Correct.
Is it holding strong?
It held strong. A 47%, only a 47% drop at 17 million. Yeah, it's made 60 at this point. Can you guess number 2?
Number 2 is The 5-Year Engagement.
Wrong. It's The Pirates.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which it did not do great. Came out in 11 million.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely remember the buzz for it more than 5-Year Engagement. So.
Yeah, and then The Hunger Games, correct, its 6th week. The Lucky One in its 2nd week.
Boo. I feel I'm usually never negative about movies, but this podcast is teaching me to take no prisoners.
It's teaching you how to hate. and then in number 5, The 5-Year Engagement.
Fitting.
Which came in like less than $200,000 less than The Lucky One. But so not a great debut.
Yeah.
For that one.
I thought you were gonna say it only made $200,000.
No, less than $200,000, separating it from The Lucky One. So very close on that one.
They'll catch up next week.
Yeah, and then number 6 is a Jason Statham movie called Safe, which is new this weekend. I remember watching it and not liking it. I remember nothing that it's about.
Yeah.
But the poster is him holding a gun.
Amen.
And then number 7 is the movie The Raven, the Edgar Allan Poe movie.
Yeah.
Where I guess he's a murderer or something, which also got horrible reviews.
Awesome. I can't wait till we do a real stinker.
Oh my god. Oh, cannot wait. I'm excited. There's some coming up this next month that I haven't seen. So I'm very, very curious about.
Yeah.
But let's talk about The 5-Year Engagement.
Let's do it.
So, Jacob.
Yes.
What's your history with this movie?
This was another week where I hadn't seen either of the movies. This one I knew even less about. Like, I was aware of Pirates, and I had been wanting to watch it because I love stop motion. And as established last week, I love Pirates. And,
love Skulldugger.
Yeah. And I often long to carry a sword instead of a walking stick, as Gandalf says in the 1977 animated Rankin Bass Hobbit movie. Anyway. Hold on, ladies. I'll give you a second to recollect yourselves. But yeah, I had heard of this movie. Like, it was a title I knew. And then once I started watching it and I realized it was Jason Segel and Emily Blunt, I was like, okay, I feel like I knew they were paired together in a movie. It's kind of an odd pairing, but then again,
It is.
Yeah, but then again, I feel like Jason Segel was kind of like a hot topic at the time, a hot commodity.
He definitely was.
How close are we to Muppets?
1 year later.
Okay, I can't wait.
Or Muppets was 1 year before.
We missed it.
We did. It was 2011.
I love that movie.
2010 or 11. I think it was 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still like, this is still not long after Forgetting Sarah Marshall was a big film for him. And he's been on How I Met Your Mother for a while. So he's still riding pretty good.
Also, sorry to spoil this for you guys, but while I was watching this movie, about halfway through, I started to think, is this the movie where we see Jason Segel's wiener? It's not, guys. Don't go into this movie thinking.
This is an R-rated rom-com.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I'm starting to think R-rated rom-com is the way to go. Like, PG-13, I feel like they can't explore as much real ground.
What was Think Like a Man?
I think it was PG-13.
Yeah.
But I liked that one. But yeah, so I had never seen this movie. I didn't know really anything about it. I assumed there was going to be a 5-year engagement, and I was right.
Oh my god!
But I actually broadly, I actually had a good time watching this. I started watching it at 9:30 a.m., which is definitely what the directors intended. And so I really thought I was going to fall asleep because I didn't even eat breakfast. I was like, I need to make sure I watch this before class. So all I had was my Nalgene water bottle and a
cold beer.
Yeah. But it kept my attention the whole time. I was like, I actually was really enjoying it, and I didn't there weren't a ton of laugh out loud moments, but I did laugh. I did think it was funny. And I was surprised too, like that, because I feel like a lot of times when you have a movie that's a rom-com that's not about people meeting, it's about them already being together. You kind of just have to accept the movie tells you these people love each other.
Yeah.
And so you don't see them fall in love. Although in this movie we do get 3 flashbacks
we get a lot of flashbacks to their story of meeting.
Yeah. And so at first I was like, okay, they're going to tell me that the beautiful Emily Blunt, beautifully talented,
and very smart Emily Blunt.
And funny, that she likes Jason Segel, who is not, I don't know, I think he's just like some guy. But I was like, John Krasinski better watch his ass. If the threat, it can be just some dude off the street. Anyway. But then, like, as it went on, I was like, no, I really do believe that they love each other. Like, I feel like their relationship was very sweet. Even when, like, they were, because I knew I was like, okay, a fight's coming because they can't stay together forever. So even when they were fighting, I still felt like they were sweet, which I thought was cool. What is your history with the 5-year engagement?
I remember seeing, like, the trailer for this movie a lot. I don't remember why. I feel like just, like, when we'd turn on the TV as a kid, like, it would just have, like, the movies on demand channel up. I feel like I remember seeing this trailer all over that. And there were specific things in this movie that I, like, before it started, I was like, I remember them jumping on the pile of snow, and there's the fire hydrant there. And I remember the little girl firing the crossbow into Emily Blunt's leg. And I looked up the trailer afterwards, and they were definitely in it. But, yeah, I remember seeing a lot. I think I did watch this movie at some point. I remember watching it, and I remember not liking it very much.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I was, like, probably 12. That probably just liked Emily Blunt or something. I think I liked Jason Segel at the time. I think I was watching How I Met Your Mother at the time, which is a great show. And even though I like the ending, fine.
I never watched it. All I know is Legendary.
Oh yeah, the part. I think you'd like How I Met Your Mother. I don't know how much some of it is aged.
Yeah.
Post Me Too.
I've got a big crush on Kristen Milioti.
Yeah. Oh, she's great in the last. She's only in the last season.
Yeah.
As the titular mother. But yeah. So I came into this with an open mind, and I did not like it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like this movie.
Oh, lot. This is interesting. We're not in agreement.
Yeah, because this is also the first time we've watched the movie separately.
Yeah.
So we came in here, I really not knowing where we both stand.
And we don't talk about it before. We leave it all on for the air.
We're not on talking terms.
Yes. This is how we work through our grief weekly. But
yeah, there was something about the comedy in this one that just didn't work for me. I don't know, because, like, I was like, this was making me feel like these are the kind of rom-coms I don't really like, or at least that, like, at that age when I was 12 and, like, very against, like, you know, quote unquote girly movies that I was against. But, like, I like to think like a man fairly, like, you know, a fair amount. And even, like, this is like an R-rated, Judd Apatow produced, like, supposed to be kind of raunchy comedy, like, this is still kind of off that string of, like, you know, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, you know, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
And so I think there is something I do want to bring up about that I did not know about this movie, but when it started, there was a screen for a company called Relativity Media. Are you familiar with Relativity Media?
I am not.
They were a company. They were producing a lot at this period. And up for the next, like, 2 or 3 years. They were very big because from what I've heard, they had an algorithm that had them pick movies that got made.
Wait, I have heard about this.
Yeah. And they had an algorithm, and watching this movie, it feels like the script was written by an algorithm.
Interesting.
To me. It felt like I don't know. It felt like it was also edited by an algorithm. Just a lot of the jokes didn't really land for me. I was thinking, like, this seems like a funny setup, but it's just, I don't know. It felt like just a swing and a miss on like every single one. And to be honest, I had kind of a horrible experience watching this movie.
I couldn't.
It felt so long. But I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Well, it was surprisingly long. I mean, it was only like 2 hours, 4 minutes, but I feel like that's long.
Should have been 5 years.
I feel like that's long for a rom-com. Like, and Pirates came in at like a cool 1 hour 28.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I was able to slip into like the 2012 mentality.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, I also my first note I wrote was Jason Segel and Emily Blunt together again for the first time since Gulliver's Travels.
Oh my God, I forgot they're both in that.
I think they're lovers in that as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, there was like it was kind of half and half for me. This is definitely not one that I would be like really recommend to people. I mean, unless for the purposes of this podcast, if you want to go back and watch stuff from 2012, I didn't think it was bad, and it's free on Hulu. But it's definitely not one that I would like go out and buy, to watch again and again.
Get the 4K steelbook.
Yeah, it's no the Three Stooges. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, I think like I liked that it, and I mean it's not super deep, but I liked that there was more going on than just like boy meets girl kind of stuff. And maybe it's because I've seen some like shitty rom-coms. I mean, I don't even watch a lot, but I've seen some like I saw the Christian Mingle movie.
The what?
There's a movie made by Christian Mingle.
What the
that's
what?
Like this like Christian rom-com.
Oh my God.
And it has one of the mean girls in it is the love interest.
Oh my God.
It's the one who
Amanda Seyfried?
No, she's like brunette or redhead.
Oh, Gretchen?
Yes, Gretchen. And that movie sucks. As you might expect. And there's also like a lot of weird like racial stuff. Anyway, we're not talking about the Christian Mingle.
Well, I mean, speaking about racial stuff, like this one has a really weird thing
Yes.
for Asian people.
Yes,
like
I noticed that too.
Because before we get into that,
Yeah.
this movie has a stacked supporting cast.
It's
An
some
absolutely
alumni.
An absolutely absurd supporting cast.
Yeah.
Because your leads, you got Jason Segel, you got Emily Blunt. Both of their siblings. Chris Pratt is Jason Segel's brother, and Allison Brie is Emily Blunt's sister, putting on a questionable English accent.
I know, I thought about that too.
Maybe it's just because I've heard her do like fake English accents on Community, so it felt very easy to spot.
Yeah.
But then also you have I wrote some of them down. You have Mindy Kaling.
Yeah.
You have Randall Park. You have Kevin Hart. Coming back from last week. He was busy at this time, I guess. You have a Kumail Nanjiani
in one
mini
scene.
role.
Yeah.
You have Dakota Johnson in a small role.
And I noticed also Tim Heidecker in one part. Yeah. And then I forget her name, but it's the lady from SNL who used to do Superstar. I can't remember her name though. Here, I'll do a very quick Google search.
Who was like what?
She was the one who made him chop the onions and was like, "Oh, I just need you to
that's
chop those."
freaking why am I forgetting her name? Not
I'm googling Superstar.
Molly Shannon.
Yes, yeah.
Molly Shannon, that's her.
Yeah. But yeah, I noted all that too because also the way they're revealed for someone watching it 10 years later is really funny because I guess they weren't as big stars at the time. But like Emily Blunt goes to Michigan to I guess be
should we run through the plot?
Yeah,
Just a brief thing of the plot.
Yeah.
Jason Segel proposes to Emily Blunt. They've been dating for a year. She is a psychologist. What is like?
I guess
what does that field?
I guess she just graduated. Yeah, she's just
going
graduated
for like her
psychology.
doctorate or something.
And
she's doing like
she's gonna be like a grad student.
Yeah.
But it's weird because she says it's like a job.
Yeah.
But then it seems like she's a student. So I was like, is she like a TA or is she a professor? I don't know.
Yeah, it's she's going to basically do her doctorate or some sort of like study that she's gonna write about, her like thesis kind of. But they live in San Francisco. Jason Segel's a chef. He's getting higher up at this nice restaurant where him and Chris Pratt work, his brother.
I think they might just be friends. I don't know if they're brothers.
No, they're brothers.
They are?
I think so.
Oh, that adds a whole new layer.
I think it hit. Did I make that up? Oh no, they are just friends.
Yeah.
I definitely just added that on the movie because at their engagement party, Allison Brie and Chris Pratt hook up, which I thought was going to be like, oh, dang, both of their siblings got together. Yeah. Which, I mean, isn't, I guess, like, wrong in any way.
And effectively, that is kind of what happened. They're both, they are the mirrors of each other. Yeah. They're best friends.
But they sleep together, and she gets pregnant, and so they end up getting married very quickly.
Yeah.
And then Jason Segel and Emily Blunt are like looking to get married, but she doesn't get into Stanford.
Berkeley.
Or Berkeley, yeah. Whatever schools.
We got to make sure we're absolutely right about this.
Whatever schools in San Francisco, she doesn't
Uh-huh.
get in any of those, but she does get into University of Michigan. So Jason Segel's like, all right, it's just a 2-year program. Let's go do it. You got to get your stuff. So they move to Michigan. She starts doing her work study, like research stuff. And in her kind of program, that's led by Rhys Ifans.
Yeah. Who I don't think I know from anything else.
Well, we will see him in The Amazing Spider-Man. He's the lizard, and recently played the lizard again in No Way Home.
Okay.
Or at least in The Voice.
Yeah.
But it's led by him, and Kevin Hart, Mindy Kaling, and Randall Park are the other students, I guess, or other people she's working with. And Randall Park is a horribly his character's racist.
Is racist. And
It's
I
very
felt so
racist.
conflicted because like his delivery was still funny, like his
Yeah.
timing, but I was like, they're making the poor guy do this terrible accent.
Yeah.
And not terrible like he did a bad job, but that it's just like it's not
just,
his
like,
accent.
It's so like
it's so
Randall Park talks like he's like because the character's like, oh, he's like an exchange student or something. Or he's like an international student from China.
yeah.
And it's just the most like
The most stereotypical like long duck dong kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I would argue that short round is less offensive.
I do like the bit because like when they're all like suggesting like horrible like psychology experiments and like Kevin Hart has a running bit that every experiment he wants to do has to do with masturbation, but Randall Park has an idea for one about like, all right, we have someone do a sleep study and then we cover them in feathers and put a gun in their hand and then scream in their ear.
And they ask him, why would you do this? And he just says, I just want to see what would happen.
Yeah. And then by the end of the movie, that does happen. He does do it.
Which
I did like that part.
Yeah, I thought that was super funny. I also liked Kevin Hart's running masturbation joke because there's a part where, and this and Think Like a Man, I was like, man, I like Kevin Hart. I feel like maybe in later years he just got too much or something.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't like him as much at first. But he has because it turns out that when they're all pitching their ideas, they're pranking Emily Blunt because then she goes like, okay, well, what if we did this donut experiment, which ends up becoming a motif for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Then one of them goes, I have an idea. What if we got 3 psych students together and had the new girl pitch ideas to make fun of her or whatever? And he's like, you got me. And then she goes, I even thought Kevin Hart's masturbation idea was real. And then he goes, he's like, my masturbation theories are very serious. and that got me. I was like, this is so funny.
But yeah, so throughout the rest of the movie, this movie hates Michigan.
Yeah.
This movie hates Michigan with a burning passion. I've never been to Michigan, but I feel bad for the people that live there. Because basically, they go there, Jason Segel's like, there are restaurants anywhere, which that's a great outlook on things. You're going there, you're supporting your wife, especially because she wants to do this now because she wants to settle down and have kids, so she wants to, handle her career stuff now. And he supports her in that. But then when they get to Michigan, he gets rejected from, I guess, every restaurant ever.
Yeah.
I guess it is like supposed to be a small college town, but also like there are nice restaurants.
Yeah. Well, that was the vibe I got, was that there also weren't like any restaurants that were to his caliber, because he's in like this big like fancy restaurant in San Francisco, and he also gets told right before he leaves that that Chef Sally, his boss, who was kind of hilarious.
I found her horribly awkward.
That's what I said was so funny.
Yeah, no, because when he's like he's giving his 2 weeks notice, she's like, this is why I hate love. This is why I voted against gay marriage. Like, that was just like, it just felt, I don't know. Anytime she said something, it made me feel weird.
Yeah, I liked it because it was so weird, and then it was stuff like that, and then like it would cut back to Jason Segel for his reaction, and then you would hear her over him go like, but don't tell anybody. And I thought that was a nice. And then at the end,
at the very end, she appears and it has a girlfriend.
Yeah, so we learn it was internalized homophobia, which makes it okay.
Yeah, but because like I think my feeling towards the movie was kind of cemented by a line she has early on, like, because when Jason Segel's proposing, he has this lovely thing set up on the top of the restaurant he works at. And right as he's about to propose, she comes up and is like, "What the hell? Like, you told me you were sick. I needed you tonight. You let me down." And he's like, "I'm trying to propose in here." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, congratulations. Live long and prosper." That's dumb. That's from Star Trek. And like she says that, and I was like, that I think is like, it's a weird joke that I think is then taken to a point that it just feels cringy.
Yeah. See, I loved how weird she was. I don't know. Maybe it's because I am a connoisseur of cringe. Yeah, she tells him right before he leaves. She's like, "Oh well, I was gonna make you the head chef of my new restaurant." Then he goes like, "Oh well, whatever. I gotta go."
So then Chris Pratt gets that gig.
The clam bar.
Yeah.
They
mentioned the clam bar so much.
Yeah.
Like, "You're still upset about clam bar. Why can't you open your own clam bar here?"
Yeah. Which is funny because to me that sounds like a genre of restaurant and not like the name of one.
Oh yeah.
So
that sounds like a placeholder name about just like, I don't know, it's a clam bar. Not just like the esteemed clam bar restaurant.
Yeah. It sounds like, you're still upset about bar and grill, aren't you?
You're still upset about surf and turf.
You're still upset about that trendy hibachi joint. Yeah, so then they go to Michigan, and early on I was like, look at this like sweet couple, like he's he's willing to do it for his wife. And she says, "I don't want you to do this because my mom gave up her job for my dad and she became a martyr and never let him live it down." And he goes, "No, that's not me." And then seeds of doubt set in. Yeah. Once he gets rejected from all those hot joints.
Yeah, he ends up working at a sandwich shop.
Yeah, which seemed like a pretty cool place.
But yeah, because like you mentioned like they didn't seem up to his caliber. He seemed ready to work at any of these places.
True.
And they're like laughing in his face because he moved here from San Francisco.
Yeah. That's what I meant though, was that he was willing, but like I think part of the sting to him was that none of the places were as good as they had. So he was like, "I'm willing to do this, but it's a blow to my honor," kind of thing. And then he's like, "And then I can't even make it there." And they were all laughing at him. They're like, there was one guy, I think Kumail Nanjiani was at like an Indian restaurant. Yeah.
Which I mean, at this point, I guess Hollywood is like, this is the only role we can cast.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani, a one-scene Indian guy.
Yeah. Which I think he's from Pakistan too. So, and that's the thing.
You're right.
I'm pretty sure Randall Park is Korean, and they were like, "We're gonna make you Chinese, and your name's gonna be Ming." I was like, "Are you guys fucking serious?" But
you could also have Randall Park, with a name Randall.
Yeah, he could be Randall and use his real accent and be from Detroit. But at least Mindy Kaling was named Vanessa and used her real accent.
They're not making Mindy Kaling be like, "All right, you're
She wasn't like Miss Patel and was from New Delhi." So I guess a win for relative media.
The algorithm said this is what people love. Yeah. Ming, go.
They love racism.
But yeah, so they live in Michigan, and it becomes kind of clear that Jason Segel is kind of third wheeling on a lot of stuff. Like he goes to kind of a party with a bunch of like her job, and he meets. What's the guy's name? What's the comedian? He's a voice actor.
I always forget, but I see him in everything.
What's his name?
He's in Hot Rod.
He's in the new Home Alone. I know.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a new Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the kid from Jojo Rabbit. Yeah.
It was so bad.
Oh man, I love that kid.
Epically horrible.
Epic fail.
Epic fail.
Cute win.
Chris Parnell. Yeah, so he's at this party. He meets Chris Parnell. He's like, finally, another faculty husband. Yeah. And he basically gets him in about like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I just sit there with the kids every day.
Yeah.
I knit," and then gets him into hunting.
Yeah. That was a strange subplot for me that I did not really like or understand. Was there's a lot of ups and downs in this movie and in their relationship, which like I didn't really mind because I was like, yeah, they're going through a lot. But one of the downs, I guess, so there's a down where it's in this moment he's feeling out of place, he starts hanging out with Chris Parnell, who I thought was funny. I thought I liked his performance. His voice is so funny. I think. Yeah. And I like that. I liked the kind of gender flip stuff they were doing. Like later, they get gung ho about the wedding again, and so
and all the guys, are doing.
So Jason Segel, Chris Parnell, and the guy he works with, who's I don't know, but has a big beard. And is also the character's name was Tarquin. I was like, what? What kind of name is that? But that's like one of the guys in Think Like a Man. It's like we've got Dominic. Zeke Tarquin.
Brian Posen.
Yeah. Fun fact, Brian, if you'd like to come on the show, I feel like I saw you walking around in Austin like two different times and kept going, I think that guy's famous. But anyway, they all go and start doing the wedding planning. And Jason Segel's like, why do women get so worked up about this? This is fun. And they're just like eating cake.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny too. There was like an awkward line from the hostess where she brings them another cake and she's like, okay, you guys have eaten a lot. And it's never addressed. It's just they're eating so much cake. Mm-hmm. They also I liked how they're all the like kind of like parallels, like how they have their relationship is compared to and mirrored by Alison Brie and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, because they get together and they don't really like each other, but as time goes on, they seem to like each other a lot more.
Everything kind of just works out for them. It's kind of like maybe they were kind of trying to take from what I have cited before as the greatest rom-com, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Because it's like Harry.
Probably.
Yeah, because Harry and Sally have, they're never quite together, but then Carrie Fisher and other guy, they're like hitting it off right away, and then they get married right away. They also are mirrored in that when he starts working at Sandwich Place, there's like a hip like granola girl that works there, and then
who we see in one scene,
and then later,
and then becomes important later.
Yeah, I know. Because as soon as she showed up, and it was because first we met Reese Ifans.
Yeah.
And I was like, I smell competition. And so when she showed up, I was like, here we go again. So I knew that they were going to have tempters around them during their 40 days in the desert, the devil offering a cup of water. And sure enough, they both cheat on each other. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too much there.
They do. Well, we should mention the scene that I remembered the most was the crossbow scene.
Yeah.
So at some point, Jason Segel gets very into hunting.
Yeah.
He gets very into hunting, and Chris Pratt and Alison Brie come to visit them, and with their now born child, who's like 3, I guess, because it's been a 3-year engagement at this point, and he has like mutton chops and is like feeding them nothing but deer. They have like cups made out of deer hooves. Yeah. Which also those hunting scenes, as someone who has hunted deer a fair amount, those was pretty bad. I know. Pretty bad scenes. And those are the most fake looking deer ever.
I literally wrote, it looks like they filmed this in like a Bass Pro Shops display.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah, and they shot like a foam deer.
But so he's like, oh yeah, eat as much as you want. I got 3 deer hanging up in the garage. Like he gets super into that, which is a funny change.
Yeah.
But Jason Segel reveals, oh, I don't want kids, which is a big thing because Emily Blunt definitely wants kids, and so that's some strife coming in their relationship. And so then they're like, you know what? We'll watch Alison Brie, Chris Pratt. Y'all go have a night out. We'll watch your daughter, and Jason Segel will realize he loves kids. So he's enjoying time with her. They're like playing with something, and then he looks away for a minute because someone sends him a video on the computer of cats fighting. Very unprompted. I don't even know if anyone sends it. He just turns, and then a video of cats is playing.
Yeah, which I was like, this is the most 2012 shit ever.
Oh yeah, like, funny cat video.
The internet is only for cat video.
Yeah. But then they're like, oh, wait, where'd she go? And then they go in the kitchen, and she has this crossbow on the table. And they're like, honey, why's your crossbow out? And he says, well, it's not going to clean itself. And then they're like, honey, let go of that. And then, important thing, in the movie, she goes, I'm Pocahontas, and then pulls the trigger, and then fires an arrow into Emily Blunt's leg right as Chris Pratt and Alison Brie are coming home. But I distinctly remember in the trailers, and I looked up and I found proof of it, they have that exact scene as like the end bit, and she goes, "I'm Katniss," with a movie that just came out.
Yeah.
Which
That actually sounds weirdly familiar. Like I remember that moment.
because it's weird. It's just Pocahontas. Because at least in like the Disney movie, like she doesn't like have a bow and arrow or anything.
Yeah,
I'm Legolas.
It's just racist. But yeah, I don't know why. I wonder why they didn't keep it. Because I mean, why didn't they change it? Because I feel like it would have been an easy like ADR fix. And
well, it definitely was in the trailer. You can tell, like, they don't show the girl saying it until she says Pocahontas, because they could put it on the end of Katniss. Yeah, I guess they probably were like, oh, well, maybe, I don't. Yeah, it's such a weird decision to change that just for the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, commit if you're gonna do that.
It's like what Marvel does, where they put stuff in the trailer that's not really in the movie.
That's like stuff to like, oh, so you'll have a fun time in the theater, not just like, all right, people like Hunger Games, get them in.
This is just like an Infinity War when Hulk said, "I'm Katniss,"
and then shot Thanos with a gun.
Yeah. But also, I was thinking about it just now, and I'm like, because he goes, "Oh, I was cleaning it," and I'm like, in what world would you leave it with pulled back with a bolt in it on the table? I was like, that's so dumb.
No, the girl did that.
Yeah, with a 60-pound pull string.
Yeah. But yeah, what happens from there? I do think there is a scene that I did really like, which was, I don't remember if it came before or after the crossbow scene, but Jason Segel and Emily Blunt, they're in bed, and it's basically Emily Blunt can tell something's really wrong in their relationship, and so they have an argument. And it's like a long scene, and I liked it because it felt the most kind of real. I feel like a lot of the movies just kind of dancing around and making kind of just weird jokes about like their situation. But that scene I did like because it felt a lot more human, because it's Jason Segel yelling about like, I hate it here, I hate it, I hate everything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few moments, like, I don't know if I wrote them down, but that and, like, a couple other moments where I genuinely felt, like they were exploring some real, like, emotions. It wasn't, like, because I feel like a lot of times in movies, the stuff that people are upset about is a little, like, vaguer or, like, easier to, like, write or, like, be kind of a fable or, like, easy to learn a lesson from.
Yeah, the situation's so unclear.
Yeah.
And it does feel like, being in a relationship at that point, like, you love your fiance, I guess, at this point, but she has to be here for this job, and you love her, so you want to support a career, but it's doing horrible for you.
Yeah. And it's like, and for me, I liked both of them and could see where they were both coming from. So it was like, it was a good conflict for me, because I was like, oh man, like, I don't want either of you to be like unhappy. And, although I did feel like, I mean, we'll get to the cheating, but also, I mean, I guess we're kind of there.
Yeah.
It's like, we know that her boss is being kind of flirty, or at least it's not super like obviously said in the movie, but you can tell watching it, like, and you kind of know that he's gonna be this character. And then
he kisses her.
Yeah, at the bar, they're both drunk, and she's complaining about her fiance, and he's like, oh, let me try this or whatever, and then kisses her. And so that's what I was gonna say, was I think was a little unfair on Jason Segel's part, was that and to be fair, he didn't see it happen, and and she doesn't do a very good job describing it. But when you watch the scene, it's like definitely he kisses her and then she pulls away, albeit not super quickly, but she doesn't she doesn't hold him or anything. She goes no and shoves him away and then leaves. But then Jason Segel says something that I felt like was sus. Yeah. Where he's like, she goes, he kissed me. And Jason Segel says, like, the problem is that you made him feel like it was okay, or something like that. And I was
made him feel like he could kiss you.
Yeah. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, it's just
I guess that's addressing a greater issue in their relationship.
Yeah.
But it comes across weird.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, I don't know. I don't want to get too deep with it, but I was just like, this is, like, problematic. And then it's, like, something that she didn't really have a say in. And then he's like, you gave him the choice. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like, so I Jason Segel lost me there. And then goes, and so then they, like, she tells him that after they decide to get married again, finally they go, okay, we're just going to do it. and then you can
Yeah,
tell
they're
like
getting ready to get married in Michigan, which also there's a running bit throughout the movie because her Emily Blunt's mother on a on a Skype call with her grandparents, they're like, "Oh, you haven't need to pick a date because grandparents have a tendency to die."
yeah.
And then throughout the movie, as they keep delaying the wedding, more grandparents continue to die.
Yeah, I thought that was the first one. Really got me where because it's Jason Segel. She goes, "Won't my parents be upset because they're canceling the wedding to move to Michigan?" And Jason Segel goes, "They'll live." And I really
Cut
wasn't
to
expecting it.
funeral.
Yeah, and then it cuts to a funeral scene, and then they do it 2 more times, and I started to be able to predict it.
Yeah, I did the one about his final words were, "I can't wait for her wedding."
Yeah. That was another note I had as a side note when talking about Alison Brie's British accent, is that besides Emily Blunt, I kind of felt like every British person was doing an accent.
Oh yeah.
They were all there was one guy who was literally the Beatles, was like, oh yeah.
Oh, that was her father. Yeah.
He's like, a wedding, oh boy.
Oh my, so exciting. And her mother, is not British. I've seen her. In other
really?
Things. Yeah, Jackie Weaver. She's in other things. I'm pretty sure she's American. So it does feel like they're like, oh, Emily Blunt's she's a great actress, I guess, because also I guess Jason Segel was in Gulliver's Travels with her. It's like, oh yeah, she's great, but then it's like, oh shit, I guess we have to make her I guess we have to cast everyone English now.
Yeah. They could have just said, oh, she had a really influential year abroad in college.
But yeah, so they're getting ready to get married in Michigan.
Miserable.
Finally, they are so miserable with every decision that they made to get married. And then Emily Blunt reveals that the professor had kissed her, and he loses it, and he goes out drinking, I think, and then comes across his coworker who we've only met once.
Yeah.
And then she tries to hook up with him, and he goes weirdly too far.
Yeah. He's
that part's uncomfortable.
That part's bizarre.
When they're trying to hook up in a sandwich shop.
Yeah, they're trying to hook
and
up.
she's just slapping him and shooting him with sriracha.
They're super drunk. At first she puts potato salad in his face, and it's it's already weird, but it's okay, we're playing around. And then I think they start kissing, and he's starting to say we shouldn't or whatever, and then his shirt comes off, and then this is when shit really hits the fan, because then I think she sprays him in the face with sriracha, and he's burning.
That I think feels because with all these Judd Apatow, this one's produced by him, but it feels like a lot of these movies, it's all right, here's the broad outline of the scene, go, and then they just kind of get to riff as much as they want. And I feel in this movie, because there's a lot of scenes that just feel very off the cuff. And it feels kind of unnatural because they're kind of doing a real character, especially her, because when she's I don't know, I haven't seen a drunk person that's just ha ha, get sprayed with sriracha.
Yeah, she seemed unhinged. At first I was is this supposed to be a fetish thing? She always wanted to.
I've always wanted to do it.
I've always wanted to be slapped by potato salad.
Oh yeah, she grabs a thing of ham and just slaps it in the face.
Yeah, there were a few moments where I felt the Alison Brie and Chris Pratt's first interaction, I felt was definitely improv.
Oh yeah.
They were just go talk. Also, it was fun to see classic Chris Pratt Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I was oh yeah.
I was thinking, because this is a lot of, I guess minus Emily Blunt, but I mean Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother, Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec, Alison Brie from Community. I think all around this time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of television, sitcom actors.
Mindy Kaling, The Office. Others.
And others.
Randall Park, also The Office sometimes.
But yeah, there is the bit where they're getting ready to get married in Michigan, and then the professor shows up there to to apologize, I think. And then Jason Segel sees him and is you better run.
Yeah.
And then he chases him through the streets. And that part I did because I think I'm a fan of Jason Segel. I'm a big fan of Jason Segel, I'd say. Have you seen the movie The End of the Tour?
No.
Jason Segel plays David Foster Wallace.
Oh, okay.
And he is legitimately incredible in that movie. I haven't seen that. I haven't rewatched that movie, but he blew me away in that movie. He should have been like nominated for an Oscar for that.
Wow.
Role. I love it. Highly recommend. But I feel like in this movie, and I love him in How I Met Your Mother. I think he's great in that. But this one, he felt very stiff to me.
Yeah.
He felt like, especially in the beginning, just all of his lines felt like an improv sketch where it's like, yeah, I wanted to propose. Geez.
It's also kind of weird because I feel like this movie, like, it's kind of torn between being like not serious, but being more realistic, and then being like more zany.
Yeah.
Because there are times where it's like, oh, this is like a real story about a relationship, and then gets sprayed with sriracha.
Gets sprayed with sriracha and slapped with ham.
Yeah.
But the scene that comes in, I did like Jason Segel a lot in is when he's chasing the professor through the streets of this town, and he's just screaming at him, and I love it yell. I was like, I'm a hunter! Yeah. I will get you!
That's what Colin and I just walked here from a sandwich place, not Zingerman's from the movie. But I was gonna quote a line from him that I kept because I said no, save it for the podcast. But
was it I'm a hunter?
No, it's when Winton Reese Ifans is trying to explain to him what happened, and he was like, what, am I not gonna kiss a woman who wants to kiss me? Which is again like, yes.
Yeah.
If a girl, I don't care
That's the
how
most like 2000s thing.
Yeah, like
pre-Me Too
problematic.
Thing.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care if a girl is, being like you're at a bar and she's like, oh, like, take me home. If she has a
fiance.
Yeah, first of all, people can't consent when they're drunk. Write that down. Second of all, she has a fiance. He's been to your house, like
you've met him on multiple occasions.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes, what, am I not gonna kiss a woman that wants to kiss me? But then the part I was gonna quote was that he goes, he's like, underneath it all, we're just operating on caveman software, which I thought was pretty funny. But I also really liked when he's chasing him that there's a slight callback. Because earlier he goes to Emily Blunt, he goes, I'm late for my Taekwondo class. And then he goes, oosh. Does a little move, and then later when Jason Segel tries to punch him, he immediately blocks it and then hits him in the throat.
It's like, it's just instinct.
Yeah, and then he turns into like Jackie Chan as he's running
does
away.
The ninja. Yeah, which is a very obvious stunt double.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
But yeah, so they, after all this cheating stuff, they call it off. She gives him the ring back. Jason Segel moves back to San Francisco. Emily Blunt finishes her doctorate, her research, whatever, in Michigan, and starts dating Reese Ifans. Jason Segel goes back to working he starts working for Chris Pratt, I guess, at the Clam Bar. And then he starts dating Dakota Johnson, who you meet very quickly in the beginning of the movie. I said, that's Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
And then she disappeared, and then she shows back up and they're dating.
Yeah. And I guess her whole character is that she's young.
Yeah.
But it's also like hard to tell because at one point they go, Emily Blunt's mom says to her, I'm sorry, I'm not 23. And I was like, 23?
Oh my God.
That's how I figured out that they were supposed to be, she was supposed to have recently graduated.
Okay.
From undergrad.
Is Jason Segel supposed to be playing 23?
I don't know, but
that
maybe a little older, but I was like, neither of them looks 23.
Yeah.
Because I'm not even 23. But I know people who are, and they don't look like that.
Yeah. They don't look like, the Hulk that is Jason Segel.
Yeah. And those lamb chops really did a lot for him. I thought he had gained weight like Christian Bale style.
Yeah.
But
I do like the joke when he's dating Dakota Johnson, and it's like she's so like vibrant and young, and I think maybe it's not an age thing, but definitely like if you've been dating the same person for like a long time, you're not used to like the single lifestyle where she's just wanting to have like sex nonstop and then wanting to do all these activities, and he's like, can we just lie in bed? Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, not to be sus on the podcast, but that was one moment.
Sus.
That was one moment where I was like, when he was like, oh man, it's like, I'm so old, and I was like, get it together, Jason. I was like, it's Dakota Johnson. I was like, you find yourself in an enviable position, my friend. But I get for the story, and also she was mean later, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
She's like really like cussing him out, and then she goes, get out of here. I'm gonna say mean things, as if she wasn't already. I thought that was really funny.
Also, the similarities to Think Like a Man with the cook eventually starting a food truck, which is what Jason Segel does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of strange similarities.
A lot of rom-com similarities to movies that came out a week apart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's in both of them.
A main character who's a chef breaks up with his girlfriend and starts a food truck.
Who has a high-powered job.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she doesn't have a high-powered job, but she's very successful. And yeah. But I actually saw, I don't know if I've seen the actor who played the dreamer in Think Like a Man in like anything else. And then I saw him in something the other day.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, Think Like a Man. But
Think Like a Man.
But yeah, so they go their separate ways, and then some more time passes. Chris Pratt gets another kid.
So they start talking again. Jason Segel reaches out to Emily Blunt, and they start talking again, but then they start arguing more, and it becomes a whole thing. Do you remember? Because throughout the whole movie, Emily Blunt has this experiment going in that she's studying, and it's basically like, oh, if you have a group of people doing like a personality test, and then give them like you have stale donuts there, but you say like, oh, but fresh donuts will be given in 20 minutes, and it's like, oh, the people who like have been like divorced and have this stuff, like they'll just go ahead and eat the stale donuts, they won't worry about waiting. And that becomes a big thing because later on she's like, oh, those donuts are stale, and then Jason Segel's just like digging into them.
Yeah, and he
So
really goes off the deep end.
And so then she's like convinced about this whole theory, but I do like, because I think they're talking later that they changed it to like cookies or something, and Jason Segel says the thing about like, there is no right cookie, you just pick one and take a bite.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like relationships, and it's like, there's not a perfect person out there.
Yeah.
You just pick one.
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting idea, because in one hand it's kind of nihilistic, where you're
Yeah.
like, not nihilistic, but it's kind of pessimistic, that you're like,
There's
no
no
one is
true
perfect for
love,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. But then it was like, but it's also kind of nice that it's
Yeah.
like, you learn to love someone.
But that cookie's still gonna be dang good.
Yeah, and I thought that was funny that it's like, because they say they're 90% right for each other, and then Jason Segel's mom is like, your father and I aren't even 60% right for each other,
Yeah.
but that's the love of my life.
Yeah.
And the dad, he's not even fighting it. He's just like, he goes, it had to be said. It's kind of like Fiddler on the Roof, where it's like all his kids are
Looking for love.
are getting married for love, and he had an arranged marriage, and he says to his wife, do you love me? Do I love him?
Do I what?
For 45 years, I've washed your clothes, scrubbed your back, washed your back. 25 years, your back is mine. If that's not love, what is? Anyway.
If that's not love, what is?
I love Fiddler on the Roof. That's if there are any local theaters that want to put on Fiddler on the Roof, my dream is to play Tevye. My high school told me they couldn't do
And
it
with a
because they'd already
performance
done
like
it.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
Let me break a little more off for you. Sunrise, sunset. I know I'm gonna listen back to that and be like, God damn, Jacob, why did you do that? Anyway, if it even makes it. But
yeah, they get back together, they appease each other, and then Emily Blunt, similar to the fashion that Jason Segel at the beginning is trying to throw like a big surprise, like engagement deal at the very beginning. Emily Blunt trying to throw a big surprise wedding for him.
Yeah.
And they do it in a park in San Francisco, and she runs through, and it's like, all right, do you want the New York jazz band or string quartet? And he's jazz band, which suit? And he's just like, they pick it right there and do it, which is a cute scene.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Think. But it is weird because there's also kind of a very similar thing that happens in How I Met Your Mother, where someone's like, oh, no, where like the main character is like trying to date this one girl, but she's like, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do all this stuff. So he's like, all right, like all I have is like a 2-minute lunch break. And so then he does like an entire like whole date in 2 minutes where like they have a quick dinner and then watch a movie for like 10 seconds and then do all this stuff. Yeah, and then the movie ends.
Yeah. Yeah, so they decide to get back together, and then all that happens. luckily, we forgot to mention, luckily Jason Segel has shaved at this point.
Oh, thank God he shaved those
I
mutton
know.
chops.
I'm a fan of strange facial hair, but it was not working.
It looked really bad.
Yeah. But yeah, they get back together and they live happily ever after.
I guess.
Yeah. Only 90% right for each other.
It does feel weird, though, because it kind of is played like Emily Blunt is in the wrong for pursuing her career more.
Yeah, I did think some of that stuff was strange.
Because, I mean, the movie kind of paints it as like, oh, you know, if they hadn't moved to Michigan, if they hadn't done this, if she hadn't believed this, and because, like, I mean, her whole time there, she's working on like her quote unquote donut theory.
Yeah.
But then, like, Jason Segel's like, no, that's bullshit.
I know, yeah.
And then the movie, and then they kiss and happily ever after.
Yeah. That was, it was funny because there in this movie and in Pirates, there were a couple things that I was like, I'm calling it now. And in this one, I was like, I feel like this donut thing is gonna be important. And then like, I didn't even imagine how important it was gonna be. Where like it was in so much of the movie.
It was. They keep talking about these damn donuts.
Yeah. And then Allison Brie and her have a whole argument conversation in Cookie Monster and Elmo voice.
Oh, that part was great.
That was good.
That felt straight out of Community.
Yeah.
Especially with Allison Brie doing the voice.
I love Allison Brie. If you guys haven't
big
watched
fan.
Glow, it's the best.
Oh, yeah. I only watched the first season, but she was so good in it.
It's honestly like, I always feel like people think I'm joking when I say this. It's like my favorite show.
Oh.
I was so sad when it was canceled.
But yes, to wrap the 5-year engagement up, Jacob, what did this do anywhere? Where did this rank among your expectations?
In terms of, I didn't really have any expectations. I was just like, okay, here we go again. Especially with like, even though I like rom-coms well enough, it's not like a genre that I seek out a lot. So I feel like if we were to watch a movie I didn't know anything about, but I knew it was like a genre, like action movie, I would be like, hell yeah, here we go. But with these movies, I'm just kind of like, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
So I would say in that regard, it exceeded my expectations because I laughed and I cared about the relationship and I felt like it was actually saying some real things about relationships. But as we talked about, there are some like problematic things about like consent and racism and how relationships work.
Oh, the good old racism.
Yeah.
Rearing its ugly.
Which I feel like we've run into a couple times already.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it was only 10 years ago. But that goes to show. But yeah, I would say if you want to watch a rom-com from 2012 for some reason, maybe
from this weekend of 2012, go see Think Like a Man.
Yeah. I would say in terms of the rom-coms we watched so far, Think Like a Man's the best one. Then this, then The Lucky One.
Yeah, it's hard to say how this matched my expectations because I feel like I had some hope going into this one. But then I looked back on my letterbox and it said I had given this 1 star out of 5.
Dang.
But it's not that bad. I just didn't like it. It didn't come together for me. It could have been my mood. I was like, I watched it. You watched it in the morning. I watched it at night, and I wanted to go to sleep. But
I started my day.
To me, like, I think there was something interesting in the story, but to me, like, the jokes really fell flat. And I think kind of overall, it just didn't do it for me. Which also, it should be noted that this was written by Jason Segel.
I thought that was interesting.
Written by Jason Segel and the director Nicholas Stoller, who's gone on to direct. He directed both Neighbors films. He randomly directed the movie Storks, the animated movie.
Yeah, what the hell?
I don't know. He has a weird career.
I feel like I actually saw that and don't remember a single thing about it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
But yes. So it's a pass for me. Honestly, I think I'd rather watch The Lucky One again.
Dang.
Maybe. I don't know. There was things in this movie that just made me more angry. Lucky One just felt like it just kind of washed over me.
Yeah. This one to me felt more like a 2012 comedy that hasn't stood the test of time in the way that like Bridesmaids has. And so whereas The Lucky One felt like a one step above a Hallmark movie.
All right, so continuing our weekly double feature.
Yes.
This week we sneaking over to the next theater to watch The Pirates, Band of Misfits? Question mark, because on Letterboxd this movie is labeled The Pirates: An Adventure with Scientists.
Really?
Yes.
You know what I bet it is? I bet that's like the British title. Yeah.
But because I saw this recently. Like I saw it on there labeled this. I'm like, is this a second movie? Like, is this like just like one they made and put on TV or something, or like a DVD extra? But I was watching it this time. There's a part when they're looking at the wall and they're like, oh, when we went on adventure adventure in the library, adventure in this. And I was like, oh, that would make sense this is the adventure with scientists.
Yeah. Weird.
But it's very weird. But Jacob, what's your history with this movie?
I really wanted to see this when it came out because I love stop motion and I love pirates, which I feel like I may have already said in this episode.
You have.
But it stands true from an hour
Hasn't
earlier.
changed. Hasn't changed.
And I grew up watching Wallace and Gromit, and I don't think these are the Wallace and Gromit guys. Are they? Is it? It's the Flushed Away guys, right?
I'll double check. Same studio though.
Yeah, but either way, I love all the British stop motion. And so I really wanted to see this, and I never got to, and I haven't seen it in those 10 years. So I finally saw it today. I watched it right after, and I gotta say, I wanted to like it more than I did, which is a sad admission. But like, I somehow felt wide awake for all of the 5-year engagement. Watched this after, same position, same Nalgene water bottle. And I like in Act 2, I was feeling sleepy. But like, I will say things I did like broadly. I thought some of the jokes were great, specifically more of the like visual gags. I felt like a lot of the like dialogue wasn't amazing. And then of course the animation was wonderful. And I liked the character designs. Like, I mean, obviously I want to be a pirate, I think. So I was just like, oh my God, this is so awesome. I want to be on the ship with them. But yeah, the actual story I was telling Blake, my roommate, that, cause he had seen it and he was like, what did you think? And he said, it's cute, right? Which like, I was like, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah. Because I think I really like movies when it's an adventure movie like this that has a very clear goal. He wants to be Pirate of the Year.
The award, the titular award.
Yeah, which I really liked. I liked that they had like a pirate world, like kind of Pirates of the Caribbean, but Pirates of the Caribbean, it's obviously more fantastical and like mature, I guess. Not really, but you know, there's like pirate.
They're not
king.
going for the pirate.
Yeah, it's not Pirate of the Year, and they're not all zany characters like Pegleg Hastings and Cutlass Liz and what was the other? Black Bellamy. Yeah. And then the main character is never given a name. He's just Pirate Captain.
I wanted to talk about that part. Pirate Captain. Because his whole crew is like, there's like albino pirate. Yeah. And my favorite, surprisingly curvaceous pirate, which is a woman wearing a fake beard.
That was another thing I wrote down as one of my calls, because as soon as I saw her, I was like, beard pirate is a woman, calling it now. And then immediately it becomes the most obvious thing ever. So I was like, okay, never mind.
But it is funny that they never like find out.
Yeah.
They just stay hidden.
I wanted the reveal though, because I thought she might become a love interest for Pirate Captain, which I wanted to happen. Because I think part of, romance of the seas, high adventure, that there should be a little smooching in it as well.
What? You can't smooch the sea?
That's true. Big wet kiss from the ocean. I want, when I see an adventure movie, and especially like it's a kids movie, I feel like I want that kind of ramping up crescendo where it's like we're going here, cause and effect until we build up giant finish, and instead this felt like.
It's a lot of starts and stops.
Yeah. It's like we're going here, and then we're going here, and then we're going here, and then it ends.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really set up for a cool finale that they didn't really deliver on.
Yeah, I thought the finale was okay.
Yeah. Because I was like, from a pirate movie, I want, adventure on the high seas, and a lot of it was just like in London. Yeah. So at the end, when they go, we've got to get Queen Victoria. She's on this massive ship. I was like, here we go.
Big naval battle.
Yeah, I was like, we're going naval. And then like it was pretty good, and they go in a dirigible, in a Zeppelin, which I was like, that's cool. But what I really wanted to happen was, because at this point he's had a falling out with his crew at the low point, and I was like, I wanted to rally him back, and then like one last hurrah, the whole crew works together, and instead it was just like he's by himself with Charles Darwin as his sidekick and a monkey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so I guess I didn't say it, but my history with this movie is I did see this in theaters. I remember. I don't know if I was like particularly wanting to. I remember seeing the ads a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember seeing the ads a lot, and a friend was like, "Hey, you want to go see it?" My mom's taking me, and we went. And I remember thinking like it was fine.
Yeah.
And I think watching it this time, I had the same feeling of just like this feels like it should be so much better.
Yeah.
I feel like the writing is just not.
I think that's what it
The
is.
story is just kind of boring.
Yeah.
Which I have kind of I really appreciate Aardman animation, like who's done this, Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, Shaun the Sheep.
Oh yeah.
But like this, and especially, do you ever see the movie Early Man, which came out after this?
Oh, I didn't, but yeah, I remember
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's Eddie Redmayne is like a prehistoric guy, and then like people show like Tom Hiddleston's like a imperialist or something, industrial guy shows up in like the Age of Bronze, and then as which seems like a funny idea about like kind of the clash between the stuff, but then just turns into a soccer movie. Like it turns into a very generic like sports movie.
That's so
And
strange.
I remember watching just being like, y'all have so much like you're playing with so much in terms of the animation and the talent, and it feels like they're just kind of running with like really kind of half-ass scripts, which I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Wallace and Gromit. I've seen Curse the Were-Rabbit, which I think is fun and creative. And Chicken Run's pretty good, I think.
Yeah. It definitely has more of that like charm than
it has a lot more. It does a lot more with it. Like just the whole like kind of training stuff I think is fun, and like the climax I think delivers on that one. Whereas a lot of these, it feels like with these movies, it's so much work to put in, and it feels really bad when they're just kind of
meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, the half-ass script is really like a big point, because it feels like it almost feels like they kind of like making it up as they go along.
Yeah.
And
which
like
is so weird because everything has to be planned out
so
much.
meticulous. Yeah. And the animators did an amazing job, and the character designers. It's just that script, man.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about, because I'm a big fan of Laika, and like Coraline, Box Trolls, Kubo, Paranorman, all I think really really great. And then like, did you see Missing Link?
Is that them too?
Yeah, it was, and it was really boring.
Yeah.
Like it felt very generic.
Yeah.
Which feels so bad because there's so much work put into these
Yeah.
movies, and I feel bad because that movie like didn't get like a ton of attention, and so then I'm like, oh, I hope this company is able to make another one, because a lot of these feel like they're going from movie to movie.
Yeah. You can't make. I've always said it. You can't make a good stop motion movie set in Victorian England.
When are you saying this in your daily life?
But that was actually something I wish they had like harped on more, was that, so later on the villain of this movie is Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
Which was interesting to me, because I felt like for a British company to do that, I don't know what British politics are like. I didn't know if that was like scandalous.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was from like 200 years ago.
Yeah.
But
Queen Elizabeth personally shows up and shoots them dead.
yeah. But I was like,
It's Princess Diana all over again.
But I was like, I don't know if this would be like you made a movie and the villain was Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah.
But anyway, you find out later that the reason. So there's a whole thing with Pirate Captain's parrot, which I called early. I was like, that looks like a dodo, and then that was the twist. Was that Charles
they
Darwin.
stumble across Charles Darwin.
Yeah.
Who I did, and when I saw this as 12, I was like, oh yeah, scientist guy. I did not put together that it was Charles Darwin.
Yeah, and that's like a funny thing that they don't really deliver on, is that Pirate Captain kind of invents evolution, or discovers evolution, but they never really deliver on it. But I did think Charles Darwin was, at first, he quickly became a not likable character, but when he first showed up, I thought his journal was funny, where he was like, now I'm being invaded by pirates, like as it was happening.
Yeah.
And
it's like, I will never meet a woman.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. He's so lovesick.
Yeah.
But
he's
anyway,
so in love with Queen Victoria, as we find out.
And he wants to present the dodo to the scientists because it'll be the discovery of the age. And Pirate Captain's like, oh, if I get all the money for winning the science contest, then I will have the most booty and be Pirate of the Year. So anyway, they go to present the dodo.
Which he just wants to take
Yeah.
the dodo from them, but they insist to come along because pirate captain wants to get the treasure that he thinks is being promised.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's just like
Encyclopedias.
because Charles Darwin's like, oh yes, the great wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is a very obvious twist.
I know. I saw that coming. I was like, there's gonna be no money.
Yeah.
But I did like. There were a couple like drier lines that felt very like British that I liked, and one of them was when he went. They go, here, your leather-bound encyclopedias, like Mr. Scientist, and he turns to Charles Darwin, and instead of being super mad, he goes, now I like encyclopedias as much as the next man. And, that's like there's some moments that felt kind of Monty Python where they're just so like silly. But we find out that the reason Queen Victoria is interested in the dodo is not because of scientific discovery, but because she's part of an elite coterie of world leaders who eat rare animals, which I kind of liked. I thought that was fun.
Funny. I wish they went more into that.
Yeah. Like I feel like that's kind of like in Zoolander when the reveal is that there's this whole criminal underworld, but that reveal comes early. Like I feel like we should have known early about this so we could joke about it more.
It feels like Queen Victoria, like she's funny because she's so over the top. Like her performance and like the animation was really good. But it does feel like when we meet her, she's just like, I hate pirates. And then we leave it at that, but then we discover that, oh, she wants to eat this animal. And then she like says like during the big final fight with Pirate Captain, she's like, I hate you pirates because you're just history. You're stuck in the past.
Yeah.
Which feels like a weird thing to just throw out.
Because that was something that was what I wish they like harped on more, because that could have been an interesting kind of like, you know, like in Westerns when it's like you're at the end of the age of cowboys kind of thing. Like this was set in like 1870, I think. 1873.
I think it was 1817, I think it said.
Okay, like because I think like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies are in like the 1700s.
Yeah.
And so I was like, isn't that late for pirates? But I was like, whatever, I don't know. And then she goes, you're dinosaurs. And I was like, that would have been cool to focus on. Like, he wants to be a pirate, but he's at the end of the age of pirates. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, which they kind of set up at the beginning because her admiral comes in and is like, we have defeated the French, the Russians, the Chinese,
the Portuguese.
Yeah, and it's like everyone, they have ships all over the map except for one spot where there's a little pirate ship on the map.
Yeah.
And she freaks out. She hates pirates so much. But yeah, I think because she's a fun villain, but she lacks that just thing that makes her really interesting.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, like, the villain in Chicken Run, like that old woman.
She's cool.
Like, she doesn't have, like, a super outstanding motivation. She's just, like, evil.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably going with something similar to that. But,
I think she works, though, because she's, like, more scary, and she wants to, like, grind the chickens up and eat them.
Yeah.
And I guess she wants to hang the pirates, but it's not as, like, visceral.
But even then, just, like, there's some things in the movie that feel just like the most basic thing, like what song are they gonna play when they're heading to London?
London Calling.
It's London Calling.
Which I thought was, because I guess up until then I hadn't really noticed any like modern music, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Although one part I did really like about this, I don't know if it was an original, but they had during the low point a Flight of the Conchords song, which I thought was really good.
I'm glad that you said that was a Flight of the Conchords song, because I'm like, what is this song?
Yeah, I was like, it felt like it was written for the movie, but I was like, wait a minute, that's Brett McKenzie.
Yeah.
And then Jermaine Clement came in, and I was like, that was fun. Another joke I really liked because it was more just dry and strange was when they go to Blood Island, which is where the pirates hang out, and he goes, Blood Island, so named because it's shaped just like some blood. And I was like, what does that mean?
I like that one.
It's just a splotch.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like some of those jokes. So yeah, he goes to Blood Island to submit himself for Pirate of the Year, but all the other pirates show up and they have so much more booty. Including what's her name?
Cutlass Liz.
Cutlass Liz, voiced by Salma Hayek.
I knew it was Salma Hayek.
I remember she was in all the trailers and made it seem like she was gonna be like the antagonist. All those pirates, like, they don't come in like at all. They don't do anything. They just hang out on Blood Island.
I know. I was excited because I thought he was gonna have a sweet swashbuckling fight with Black Bellamy.
Yeah, which would have been great. But yeah, so he gets embarrassed and is like, "We're gonna go be Pirate of the Year." They go out on the seas, and there was my favorite joke was they're like, all right, we're gonna fill these chests with treasure, And so then they go to all these boats, and it's all these dead ends. They go to one where it's like, this is a plague boat. And then they go on one, it's a bunch of children. They're like, geography field trip.
Which I wrote down. I was like, man, these are not good pirates because they should take those children hostage and they get a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take lepers hostage, but you can take geography students hostage.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah, they do it like at the beginning of Porco Rosso.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to be a pirate. I don't want to do all the crime. I just want to be a pirate.
Yeah, I do. Because I saw Porco Rosso for the first time recently, and I've watched it twice since.
It's so good.
It's so good. I think my favorite joke at the beginning is when the other pirates are stealing. They're the sky pirates, the seaplane pirates. They're kidnapping like children off a boat, and they're like, "Boss, do we need to take all of them?" And he's like, "It's rude to separate them from their friends."
Yeah. And one of the little girls goes, "Are you pirates?" And he goes, "That's right." Or when all the girls climb up into his gunner seat and they're like, "Can we be up here?" And he's like, "Yeah, but just don't get in the way." And they're like pushing his gun around so he can't hit Porco. Anyway, go watch that movie.
Yeah, go watch Porco Rosso. That movie fucks.
Yeah, that movie kicks ass.
But yeah, so they eventually stumble across Charles Darwin, Dodo Bird. They go to London. They pretend to be scientists. There is a whole thing because you meet Charles Darwin's monkey butler.
Yeah,
who is
Mr. Bobo.
Yeah, who's like, I had a theory that if you just put some pants on him, then he'll just start to act like a man.
A man pansy.
Yeah, but I do like it's a funny visual joke because he has just has a plate with cards and he just talks by flipping through perfect cards.
I really liked that.
Yeah. But then later in the night, one of the crew sees like Charles Darwin talking to the monkey, telling him to steal the dodo bird, and he has like a card and it says like what? And he's like, quiet. And then he pulls out another card and it just says what in smaller font.
Yeah, I really liked that.
Like all of those visual jokes I thought were great.
Or when he falls and the cards fly up and they say, ah!
Yeah, I really like the scene when, because I feel like Wallace and Gromit, especially like the shorts, from what I've seen, they're very good at action. And like really dynamic action that just like you couldn't do in live action. Yeah. And the only scene that really felt like to me is when the monkey's trying to steal the dodo bird, and they're having like a huge chase at the house, and like they're in a bathtub that crashes through all the staircases. I like that a lot because it was so fast, and there's a whole thing with the carpet, and because there's like an Easter Island head that's chasing them down. Yeah,
that was a good scene. It also reminded me of Paddington with the bathtub going down the stairs.
And especially with how British this movie is. It definitely made me think of Paddington.
Weird thing. This is not related, but I just thought of it. When you watched the credits, was it weird? Because the names didn't show up.
They started like the music, and then you see like the characters in picture frames with an empty space next to it for a name that wasn't there.
And I was like, I want to see who these actors were. Yeah. It must be an HBO Max thing because
maybe
there's no way it went to theaters like that, right?
I definitely don't remember.
Yeah.
Because like because I remember seeing this movie and not really remembering who's in it because Pirate Captain is Hugh Grant.
Oh.
Hugh Grant.
I was trying to figure out who he was.
Hugh Jackman would have been fun.
I know. I think his second in command was Martin Freeman.
It was, and then like the Charles Darwin was David Tennant.
Oh, okay.
Selma Hayek was Cutlass Liz. Queen Victoria was not someone I recognize. Black Bellamy was Jeremy Piven, which in connection to Think Like a Man is another cast member from the show Entourage.
You know, the whole time I thought it was Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. But he feels really weird because everyone else is like British, and he's like, "You want to be Pirate of the Year?"
Yeah, he's like, "Hey
guys, I'm a pirate." But yeah, so whole chase with the dodo bird, they win the prize. Queen Elizabeth pardons him as a pirate because it's discovered, but she makes a deal with him, or she offers him like all the riches he could want, and he could win Pirate of the Year for the dodo bird.
Polly.
Polly. I don't think we said her name. But the crew loves Polly. Polly is the heart and soul of the boat. And so he, without telling them, he makes the deal, and which he thinks that Polly's just going to be in like her petting zoo.
Yeah. Little does she know. He know that she's going to be eaten.
Yeah. So then he gets all the gold. They go back to Blood Island. He gets the money. He wins Pirate of the Year. But then Black Bellamy says, he can't be Pirate of the Year.
He was pardoned.
Yeah. because he was pardoned by Queen Victoria, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he's stripped of that. His crew abandons him because they realize he sold Polly.
Yeah.
And then he's sad. He goes back to England to get Polly back. But then because then Charles Darwin, who's been an antagonist this whole time, he was trying to steal Polly so he could win over Queen Victoria. But so then they team up to go after her in an airship.
And Mr. Bobo goes off to tell the rest of the crew. Well, we don't know what he's doing at first. At first, it looks like he's leaving because he's a coward.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he's telling the rest of the crew. But like, I felt like it would have been such a more fun finale if Pirate Captain had to go like apologize to the crew, make a heartfelt speech, and then they had to go on one last run to spring Polly.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like that's the movie is like him being the captain.
Yeah, that's his name. Which it does, like, I get the bit that's like, oh, he's Pirate Captain, which it feels, because I was like, that's a funny joke, like, in the credits. About, like, aha, you didn't really have a name. You didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But everyone's just like, oh, Pirate Captain. Oh, Pirate Captain.
Yeah.
Like, what's your name? Oh, it's Pirate Captain.
Yeah, when they go, I first realized it when he's filling out the Pirate of the Year thing, and he writes as his signature, Pirate Captain.
Which that would be a funny joke on its own, but it feels as a whole like a weird, which kind of ties into my thing about the script kind of being a little feeling half-assed.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we'll just call him Pirate Captain.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, writer to writer.
Yeah.
Where it feels like they put it in because they were like, it feels like a joke from an early draft, and then they never got changed.
Yeah, it feels like one funny joke that then they have to stick with for the whole movie.
Or I feel like sometimes I know when I like have written stuff like something I come up with early that ends up not being that good of a joke, and you have to make peace with that fact. But yeah, so they spring Polly, they beat Queen Victoria with a weird callback to vinegar and baking powder experiment from the science show.
I did like that the whole ship exploding part. I thought that part was fun.
Yeah. Her ship looked really cool too.
It did. It looked like the Titanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she's meeting with all these world leaders. Like there's a guy who looks like Uncle Sam. And like there's like a Russian guy.
Yeah.
And like they're eating all these rare exotic animals. But I feel like, have the animals like really like what if they had like, because you see like in the vault with Polly locked up, like there's all these other, like there's a panda and all these ones. Like what if they got to like attack all those leaders at the end?
That would have been good. Like SpongeBob when all the creatures in Shell City come back to life.
Yeah, something like that, just because, I don't know, it just all feels so kind of whatever.
Yeah. And it's like the stakes weren't really there because I didn't particularly care about Polly.
That was my thing too.
Yeah.
Like
I cared more about his relationship with number 2, Martin Freeman.
Because Polly, like, I guess she's kind of cute, but like, I don't know. They don't give her like many cute like traits. Like not even like much personality like that they focus on. So it feels weird.
She's literally they only tell you that they all love her. They don't show you like her doing fun stuff. Like she's no Paddington. Yeah. I mean, she can't talk either. That doesn't help.
Because I do remember seeing this movie, and because I'd seen the trailers a lot, so I feel like, oh, they're gonna go on like an adventure. And then when Charles Darwin, and I think there was always the joke in the trailer about like, oh, she's not fat, she's big boned. And then when they're like, oh, she's a dodo bird, I remember being in the theater like, what? This is a weird direction to take this in. So yeah, it's a weird decision.
I feel like I really wanted it to be more like a globe-trotting adventure because once the dodo thing happened, it didn't bother me. But I thought, because it was Charles Darwin, I was like, oh,
they're gonna go search for some like creatures or
something.
I would find some sea monsters.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna try to find the island where the dodos still live so they could have them breed.
But I do like the quote between Pirate Captain and Charles Darwin, where like he's like, we can't get it, it's impossible, and Pirate Captain goes, it's only impossible if you stop to think about it.
Yeah, I also like they did a good visual gag with when you first meet Charles Darwin, where it's panning across all his creatures, but they get bigger and bigger.
Line.
And then he's sitting at the end, hunched over, so he looks like part of it. And then later. Pirate Captain points to him and the ape and is like, are you two related? And he's like, what? And he's like, it's just something, never mind. And I'm like, I like that he's hinting at evolution.
You can't ignore it.
It's also weird that at first I was like, are they gonna make Charles Darwin a villain?
Yeah.
Which, like, he wasn't a particularly great guy, I guess. He, like, married his cousin and stuff. But
They loved each other. They loved each other.
But, like, he's responsible for a huge scientific discovery.
Yeah, that is doubted often in many schools.
So I was like, are they gonna make him the villain of this movie? That'd be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there was much talk of sea shanties and nary a shanty to be found.
That's what I thought that too, because they keep mentioning like, oh, I hate like Queen Victoria, like your insufferable sea shanties. Like we've not heard nary a one.
Yeah.
We heard London Calling.
Yeah, they should have sang the Wellerman.
Yeah,
They should have sang, "In South Australia I was born." This is a very musical episode.
Mm-hmm. One other kind of image that did stick with me, and I remember, was like when they go into the final battle and they rescue Polly, but then Queen Victoria comes down into the kitchen through the dumbwaiter. Which is a funny
that
visual.
was funny.
But then when she's like, "Oh, little old me can't fight you," and then her like giant hoop skirt just like opens up and like has swords on the inside.
Yeah.
That visual I remember sticking with me. I think I remember stealing that in like a short story I wrote in like 8th grade.
Yeah. I remember thinking that was weird because when her skirt opens up, it looks like it's a robot or something.
Yeah.
So I thought
You
she was
think
going
it
to be
turned
like,
like a giant robot and fight them?
yeah, I thought she was going to become like a steam mech, but instead it
Yeah.
opens up and she has katanas.
Yeah.
Which then again, I was like, if you're going to do a pirate movie and not have a single sword fight, what the
Yeah.
heck?
I know. It's weird. Is that the only sword fight in this movie?
And it's not even really a sword fight because he doesn't have his
Pirate King's
cutlass.
fighting.
Yeah, he's
fighting
just
other things.
whatever he has, like a pot or a spatula.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also my outlook may have been dampened just because I just started watching the HBO Max show, Our Flag Means
Oh,
Death.
I really want to watch it.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Mhm.
Oh, well, you're a big Taika fan.
I know.
So yeah.
I want. As soon as it came out, I wanted to watch it, and I just haven't yet.
Yeah, I'm on the 3rd episode, and I like it a lot. It's very fun. Like it feels like it feels a better version of this movie.
Yeah.
Especially because it does feel like part of my thought is maybe they wanted to turn this into kind of like a Shaun the Sheep type thing where they have just like a bunch of things just come out, like especially with the original title, like the pirates in an adventure with scientists, then they can do with the pirates in an adventure with
Cannibals.
yeah, cannibals or any of that stuff. An adventure with musketeers.
Yeah.
An adventure with mermaids, all that. But
Maybe they should have started with more classic pirate fare.
yeah, maybe. But yeah, so overall this one just kind of like it's not horrible in any way.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely better than 5-Year Engagement in my eyes, but it just feels like there's so much more.
Yeah,
that
it really could have
done.
been different.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I guess we just said it. But yeah, how does this rank against your expectations?
I unfortunately did not meet my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be amazing, and it was fine. And I feel like one of the best jokes was in the trailer, and I remember it, which was we can't go there. There's a sea monster, and it's just the drawing on the map, and then there actually is.
I think they put this for decoration.
Yeah, and that was a great joke, but I remembered it from the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not nearly enough swashbuckling or high adventure. Avast me hearties.
Yeah, this, because I remember my expectations being like, oh, it wasn't bad, and so I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10, I think, and just had that still. But watching it this time, just like there was just nothing that really grabbed me.
Yeah,
It was just kind of
same.
yeah. So it's unfortunate, but you know.
It is
Flushed
what it
Away
is.
though. Now that's a
Flushed
movie.
Away holds up.
That one's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Flushed Away is great.
Yeah, and Ian McKellen as an evil capitalist frog.
I love Flushed Away.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
one that people don't talk about enough.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's it for the. Oh, one last thing I want to mention. Did the voice of the Pirate King sound familiar to you?
No, but I did think it was interesting that he looked like Elvis.
That was a weird decision, but because I looked him up because he sounded familiar, and he voiced a very pivotal person in our childhood.
Patrick Starr.
No, you're gonna laugh. What? He voices the beloved character of Boss Nass in The Phantom Menace.
Whoa!
Misa knows la Buddha. I had to take out my headphones to do that one.
Oh man.
But yeah, so that's it for this week. We'll see if Boss Nass makes another return.
That'd be great.
But yeah, coming up.
Oh yeah, what's next week?
Next week is a big one. Are you ready, Jake?
A slobber knocker.
It's the first weekend of May.
Is it what I think it is?
It's the Avengers, the 10-year anniversary of the Avengers.
Wow.
The very first one. The one that changed everything.
Yeah. The one that plunged us into eternal hell. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think also as we kind of go, we can also, I think by looking back, we also can see an idea of like movie release calendars are all kind of the same, like throughout the years. Because this same week is going to be Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The first week of May. Whereas also like, because both of these movies that came out this week are kind of, they didn't make a huge splash in the bucket. You know what's coming out this weekend?
Avengers and...
No, you know what's coming out?
In real life?
Coming out this Friday in 2022.
I feel like I should know.
You should.
Is it Doctor Strange?
No, that's next week. We're still in April. No, it is the Liam Neeson action movie Memory.
Oh.
Don't confuse it with the Liam Neeson action movie Blacklight, which came out 3 months ago.
Oh no, poor Liam.
I know.
He needs to make Darkman 2. They actually did make 2 and 3, I found out.
But not with Liam.
Yeah, I don't think he's in them.
But yes, next week is the Avengers. And then to pair that up with, we talked about this before, but should we do the limited release indie darling, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel?
By Jove, I think we should.
Oh my God, who's even in this movie? This one also similar. This one's similar to Think Like a Man in that it has a kind of long title. It's probably based on a book, I guess, and it has a stacked cast and got a sequel.
Oh, the second best.
Yes, the second best.
Is that what
Exotic
it's called?
Marigold Hotel. Yes.
Man, I could write this shit.
But yes, let's look at the cast of this. Oh God, a British hit, a stacked deck. You got Judi Dench.
Yep.
You got Bill Nighy.
Classic.
You got Maggie Smith. And you got Tom Wilkinson. And I believe, if I'm not wrong,
Paddington Bear.
Oh, yeah, and Dev Patel.
Oh, yeah.
He's in this, yeah. But yes,
Before
we'll have to
turn as the Green Knight.
Yeah. But yes, those will be the movies for next week. Very excited to revisit the Avengers.
Same. I literally haven't seen it
It's
since the theaters.
Oh, God, that's going to be a big one. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to rate us on Apple, and if you can do that on Spotify, that would be a lovely help.
Yes. And thank you so much. Come back next week. Tell your friends. Watch the movies and watch along with us.
And be sure to follow Feature Flashback on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. We're on there too.
Yep.
And you can find Jacob. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Jacob Sanger, SAENGER on Twitter, and at Commander in Beef on Instagram with underscores in between the words.
And you can find me on Twitter at CSpalton and on Letterboxd at CJS Films. But that'll do it for this week. We'll see you next year when we assemble to go to the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Yarr.